Hello. Hello. This is a late one. This is gonna be a quick one. But as you guys know, everyone loves it when it's quick. It, 100 days of code with the one and only Leon Anderson. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Let's fucking go.
Let's go. It's day 15, everyone. So Leon, the question. Oh, it's not day 15. It was a lie. So let me correct it. Yesterday was day 15. Let me correct it here. Day 16. Title is a lie. You can leave that. Save. Show it. Okay. Leon, what did you do today?
Today I did the homework and nothing else. I sent you the homework, which was basically
Yes.
to write the map function and the filter function or map method and filter method in terms of functions using the return function or reduce method, not return, the reduce method. And yeah, I had fun doing it. I had a little I did a little bit of asking ChatGPT like, only tell me yes or no. Do I have to do this? No. Do I have to do this? No. Okay, now I know that, so like to limit some of the options I had in mind, what to focus on. And then I had a little how's it called? Yeah, mistake or bug, basically, that I put the return of the accumulator, which I called ACC in these things. I wrote it outside of the reduce method. So basically, I wrote it. Yeah, I wrote it. No, yeah. Oh. That. Yeah, as far as I know, you don't have to do that let-egg thing because it's also already predefined in the initial value down below at the end of the reduce method. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I was just writing this here as like, basically the question. Was this the error that you did?
No. Return ACC at the bottom. I had this basically 2 lines deeper. Yes, there.
Here, basically.
Yes, because in the in the functions of the last homework, where I basically did the behind the scenes version of what's happening behind under the hood of map, I had the return of the result at that place. So I just thought, yeah, that's necessary because of scope, basically. But then I realized, oh no, it has to be part of the reduce method because it returns the accumulator back into it, so it can then loop onto the next current value. And then I was like, but well, how does the function, how does the filter function know what's inside of the reduce method? And then I realized, oh, I didn't write return in front of the reduce method yet. So I had the like in line 18, the return, I didn't had that inside. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense to now basically make the filter function a function that returns the reduce function. So, and then I had no scope issues from there. So those were my bugs, and the rest was pretty. There was like a little thinking exercise, like, okay, what do I put? What do I use the accumulator and current value for? And also with the initial value, I had some. At first, I thought, well, I can't put out. At first, I was confused because the reduce method reduces an array to one output. At least that's the main use case, or how code describes it. But yeah, and so at that point I was like, well, do I need to put the reduce function inside of a loop? I asked ChatGPT if I would blah blah blah, would I then have to put the reduce function inside of a loop to get multiple values? Please only yes or no. And then it was no. And then I was okay. So
That's awesome.
And then I was like, well, do I have to, because the only inputs are like the accumulator and current thing, and then I was like, well, do I have to create a function or define a function expression with the name of accumulator, so then I can put in a function as the accumulator? I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. There's like accumulator is a value, not a value parameter, not a function parameter, as far as I understand. Maybe that's possible. I don't know. But then I asked ChatGPT some more yes/no questions, and then it says, it gave me a little hint, basically, that I have to initialize or something with initialize. And then I was like, oh yeah, there was a third variable or a third parameter that you can use with the reduce method, and that's after that's the initial value, basically. And I was a little confused. Is the initial value, is it the accumulator thing, or is it, and do I have to replace accumulator with an empty bracket? And then I was like, no, there was something at a different place inside of the function. And then I saw that I figured out that the brackets have to be at the end of the like after the callback function, basically. Or I wouldn't say it's probably not after, it's in the same, inside of the same brackets as the callback function. Is this after the function or before the function or with the function?
So the thing is, it only looks like it's so far behind here, right? Because we could also write this like this. Reducer function is to this, and then we could just pass on the reducer function here, right? And now you see reduce just takes in 2 arguments.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. This makes it super clear. It's just simply passing in 2 arguments. You could even be like const initial accumulator equals to this, right? And then it's pretty unclear. So basically, when you don't assign these values, when you're not assigning these values in separate variables and then passing them in here, when you do it like this, that is called inlining the arguments. Because when you pass on the argument, you kind of at the same time define it, and that's called inlining, because technically usually it's only one line, and that's why it's in the same line, but that's where the word comes from. So you just pass it to arguments, and generally or very, very often you don't define those arguments beforehand. You inline them and just define them as you pass them in, and then also you never need to save them to any variable.
Okay, yeah. And is the initial value, because it's in a it's after like there's the reducer function, and then there's a comma, and then there's the initial value. Is the initial value it's still defined before the reducer function gets executed, right?
Yes, exactly, because the reducer function can you can even leave out this. I don't want to confuse, you probably know about it, then maybe if you immediately say yes. But yeah, basically if you pass on both, then the reducer just takes this value here and uses it.
If I would leave it empty, would the push function create an array automatically?
No, I think this one, if you leave it out, it crashes. But in general, if you call reduce on an array, what happens is it just uses the first element of the array as the initial value. And because if we leave out here the initial value of the array, then if we pass in numbers, the first value would be 1, right? So it would take 1 as the accumulator, and 1.push is not a thing, so it would crash.
Yes, yeah.
But I can show you something though. I remember it helped you a lot to understand filter. So let me quickly show you something. You can write your own reduce function like this. And say, hey, for let I equals 0, I less than array dot length I plus plus, and then we basically would say we call the reducer function with the accumulator. We call the second argument that we pass in is the current value, and then the third one is the index. Now we only have to think about how are we changing it. Are we saying yet initial, or not? We say it like this: initial accumulator, and then we say let accumulator equals to initial accumulator, and then we can say accumulator equals to this, and in the end we return the accumulator. So that is basically your own implementation of reduce. And let's try it out real quick. Let's say we define a function const sum. I think we have sum defined here, so let's delete this real quick, and let's say const sum equals to A and B, and we sum these two up. And then we say reduce on our numbers array with the sum function, and the initial value is 0. So let's console.log that. This C21, which makes sense, right? So let's jump through it real quick. So we pass in the numbers as the array, we pass in this as the reducer function, and we pass in 0 as the initial accumulator value. So at the beginning, accumulator is 0. Then we go to the for loop, and I is 0. So we pass into the accumulator 0. Array of 0 is 1, because our numbers array are those numbers from 1 to 6. And the current index, our summation function does not use the current index, so it just ignores this argument. 0 plus 1 is 1. We save it in the accumulator. Next loop, I is 1. We check what is 1 plus array of 1. Array of 1, the second element in the array is basically the number 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3, right? And so on. And that's how we go through it, just like how reduce works. And then the one thing that we can tweak, so you can also understand why we can leave out this value, because we can say, hey, this is defaulted to array 0. And then what we can do then is we can leave out this right here.
Could it be array? No, could it be defaulted to empty brackets as well?
Could it be defaulted to empty brackets as well? Yeah, sure. But that is not what the real reduce function does, right? Because the real reduce function reduces it to the initial value. So there's still a bug here, right? If we do this, if we remove this, then we get 22 here because it now counts the first element twice. So technically you need a logic like something like where you basically skip this one. So we would be if the initial accumulator, or you would even need to inspect the argument. So that you would need to use something called, I don't know if you had that, arguments, but this one, you would have to check, hey, is it 2 or 3? And then depending on that, we would need to initialize this for 0 or 1. So it would get a little complicated to implement that internally, but you can do it.
Okay.
I hope this brief thing made sense to you.
Yes, I would say so. Is it possible to write inside of this, to use this to write a map function again? So like by now tweaking the reducer. I mean, please don't show it to me. I'd like to do that as homework then.
Okay, so then do that at homework. I'm going to send you the custom reduce implementation. And then you can, or should I not even send it to you? Do you want to do this also again? You've seen it now once, but maybe you
can you copy that?
Yeah,
that would be awesome. Yeah.
So should I send it to you, or do you want to try it yourself to the custom reduce function?
Yeah, don't send it to me. I'll figure it out on my own. And if I need it, at first I asked ChatGPT, and if it doesn't help me with that, then I ask you.
Sweet, that sounds perfect. And that's how a lot of people learning to code. It's such an awesome opinion and way of approaching things. Such a good way to deal with things. I love it.
Yeah, and I really enjoy like looking under the hood of those methods and like understanding it. It feels like probably it's not yet at first principle level, but it feels like getting closer to first principles, and
100%, yeah.
I really enjoy that. Those homeworks. And,
Sweet. Then I think we got our stream today, right? Anything else you want to
add? No.
Okay, then let's just leave the people with, as you can see, sometimes you just do one homework, but it deeply helps you to understand how the things are working under the hood. And I can highly encourage anyone, no matter where you are, try to dissect the things that you're using. One of the biggest companies right now, Vercel, the co-founder there, Guillermo Wolf, Vercel, for those that don't know, it's like a major hosting platform, and it's basically a competitor to AWS, Amazon Web Services. And he was also the guy who found Socket.io. And some of the products that they were developing, they found the need for it because while he had already written Socket.io, when he was like on airplanes or on ships, he would always check how things are implemented under the hood. Initially, just because he wanted to see how many people are using Socket.io. So he would basically dig into websites using the website inspector and see the architecture behind them. But these insights that he garnered in those days led to the creation of Next.js and Vercel. So yeah, stay curious, keep digging, try to understand really things on a deep level, because once you understand them on a deep level, you will be able to debug problems in the real world so much faster because you have just a way better understanding of how things work. And if you have no idea how to go there because maybe you feel a little overwhelmed and you don't know when to look under the hood, first of all, follow your gut. Just do it when you're curious and the curiosity piques you. And also, if you guys follow the stream, you can rest assured that we will look at a lot of useful things under the hood here, and you can just take inspiration and whatever you see in the stream here, just do it for yourself too, and let our inspiration guide you too. That being said, this was day 16 of 100 Days of Code with
Leon Anderson and my mentor,
Alice Mill from TEDx. I almost said your name there and fucked up. Oh, I didn't want to say. I always peeped up our hot show, but yeah. Guys, take care.
Take care, bye-bye.